All great acts of genius begin with the same consideration. Do not be constrained by your present reality. I was in a state of meditation and I got hit with a hunch. Learn about Da Vinci and talk about him. Which is really weird because I didn't know anything about Leonardo da Vinci and he wasn't in my awareness at all. All I knew is that he was an Italian guy who painted the Mona Lisa. But if there's one thing I've learned on this journey is that you should always honor your hunches, honor your intuitions, and take action on them. So I found this book called How to Think Like Leonardo da Vinci, and in this video I want to talk to you about habits of genius, habits that can unleash the genius within you. One thing I want to do with this channel is empower creatives. I particularly resonate with people who want to bring into this world, bring to life something that hasn't been done before, which in a way is saying I want to speak more to the people who have that entrepreneurial mentality or that creative mentality, and something that can really embolden your entrepreneurial or creative pursuits is tapping into your inner genius. And you might be intrigued to find out, I certainly was, that Da Vinci was a practitioner of brahmacharya, the principles that we've been talking about in so many previous videos. He believed in transmutation of the vital energy and he practiced that. And he also had so many traits that allowed him to cultivate success, not just as a painter, not just as a mathematician, not just as a speaker, but in so many facets of life. He was considered a Renaissance man. Renaissance, which means rebirth. And I believe that the only way to tap into true progress in your life and to really create results is to access your creative superpowers. And so with that in mind, let's talk about just 4 principles that I extracted from this book, How to Think Like Leonardo da Vinci, and another book that I used as reference, Time Power by Tracy. The first principle is mind-body care. The cultivation of grace, ambidexterity, fitness, and poise. So Da Vinci took amazing care of his physique and health. Here's what Goethe, a German philosopher, said on Da Vinci. He said, "Take care of your body with steadfast fidelity. The soul must see through these eyes alone, and if they are dim, the whole world is clouded." Walking, riding, swimming, and fencing were the maestro's preferred forms of regular exercise. A vegetarian and accomplished chef, Da Vinci believed that a thoughtful diet was a key to health and well-being. So, we live in an amazing time in the sense that amazing superfoods are like 10 minutes away. You can go to your local supermarket and eat foods that will raise your vibration, help you think clearly, give you tremendous energy. I have a protocol of working out every day and eating these 4 high vibration foods every day. Kale, avocados, a citrus such as a navel orange or a lemon, and cherry tomatoes. I try to eat those every single day. And I try to work out every day. And it's amazing how cloudy and sad the brain gets. You may not think you're sad, but then you get a good workout in, and it's like amazing clarity begins to come into your life. So genius begins with your physicality, and that's something that Da Vinci understood. So that is the first principle of genius, to take care of that body. Principle number 2, ask powerful questions, such as the what if question, and approach your problems with a state of childlike wonder. The premier quality of geniuses is a sense of wonder, the ability to look at situations in a fresh, almost childlike way. Geniuses keep an open mind and a flexible attitude towards all subjects. They allow their minds to float freely, and they examine all the possible ways of approaching a situation or solving a problem before they come to a conclusion. They are continually asking themselves the question, what else might be the solution? There is a book called The Magic of Thinking Big, and there's a chapter in there which is a perfect demonstration of this what if question. What happened is, at a seminar, the writer of that book, David Schwartz, I believe his name was, he asked the audience, he said, how can we get rid of the prisons? How can we get rid of the prison system? And the audience says it's impossible. That would be chaos. We need prisons. And he said, okay, fine, but what if you were forced to? What if you were forced to address this problem with childlike wonder? Like, we got to get rid of prisons, we have to get rid of crime, how would we do that? And so because they were forced to, they came up with a list. They said, well, make sure every kid stays in school, spend more money on schools, make sure that every child has the resources they need to be successful and develop good traits when they're young. Maybe once a prisoner is already, a criminal, we could do brain scans and see if we can make their brains healthier. All these, like unique, interesting thoughts. At first they were brainstorming slowly because they didn't believe in the idea, but as that list grew and grew, that audience started to believe, hey, wow, this is actually maybe possible. We could do some real damage to the crime rates in America. We could definitely, wow. So the takeaway from that is that a problem, like, let's say I forced you to have a goal of making $1 million a year. For many people, that maybe seems like an impossible notion. I know it seems like that for me in my present, state of development and career mobility. But what if you were forced to approach this problem with childlike wonder? Like, you have to come up with potential ways to go about this, to solve this problem of generating that much money. What would you do? Well, I know that the people who make the most money, they have businesses. And to have a business, you need to solve problems. What's a problem in modern American society? Oh, there's this education technology that I wish I had when I was a teacher. And the ball gets rolling. When you ask yourself powerful questions, and you don't critique them, you begin to access a little bit of genius. All right, the next principle is refine your senses by being powerfully present for long, uninterrupted periods, and then embrace the uncertainty of the moment. This is the hardest thing for me to enact in my own life, and I'm trying really hard to make it more and more a part of my life. But here's something that Tracy writes about this concept. Geniuses have the ability to concentrate for greater lengths and depths of time with great intensity. Almost anyone who can discipline him or herself to concentrate single-mindedly on a single subject until he completes that task will begin to perform vastly better than most people in that area. So, a key facet of being a genius is that you have to be able to focus for long, uninterrupted periods. And currently I'm working on a design implementation for a company that could potentially hire me for a new position. And so I have to come up with this solution based on these requirements that they gave me, and it's really hard. Like, every time I get stuck and I don't know how to proceed, I feel like looking at my phone, I feel like looking at Facebook, and I'm just telling myself, like, you've got to be willing to, take the pains to suffer through that process and stare at that problem. And this is the same if you're stuck, you're trying to write a book. You have to be willing to spend a little bit of time uncomfortable, staring at that blank page, suffering and just staring at it and working with it. Or if you're applying this to your music, you have to be willing to keep working the intricacies of the notes that you're experimenting with, and you have to be willing to stay with the problem even if it's not working, and just embrace the uncertainty of that moment. That's the third principle of genius. And the final one, genius lies in action. And these are the words of Da Vinci himself. I have been impressed with the urgency of doing. Knowing is not enough, we must apply. Being willing is not enough, we must do. It has long since come to my attention that people of accomplishment rarely sat back and let things happen to them. They went out and happened to things. So, a lot of resistance in your life and whatever, the plateaus that can sometimes creep into our lives, they can be overcome simply by taking action. On that brainstorm list that you came up with, just start going about it. Start taking action on it. George Patton, I believe that was his name. He was a great U.S. general. He said, an average plan violently executed is superior to an amazing plan that you were haphazard about. So go boldly in the pursuit of your goals. Go boldly in trying things out, taking action. Don't let the fear of failure stop you. It probably will fail, but that's okay. Fail through the tasks, learn from them, and go on to the next one. Refine your senses. Stay with problems for long periods of time. Ask yourself powerful questions. Have goals that are a little bit of a stretch for you, and say, "What if?" Have a sense of childlike wonder about it. What if I could be a world-class musician and have my music reach millions of ears and really make people feel alive? What if? How would I go about doing that? What could I do today, this week, and this month to go about doing that? And lastly, take care of your body. Do your best. I know it's hard at times, considering how busy things can get, but do your best to eat the high vibration foods and to exercise sufficiently. Try to get enough sleep. Take on these habits of genius in your life, and let's see what happens. Greatness is coming for all of us on this journey. Before I go, I do want to give a shout out to one of my viewers. He has this platform that he developed called Conquered Self. I'll leave a YouTube video in my description box to his the summary of his platform and a link to his website. It basically is like a game. It's an online game that is related to self-development, and I plan on participating in the fitness war. It's basically the platform works by doing various wars against two factions. Definitely check out the video, guys, because this isn't a paid partnership. I actually just believe in what he's doing, and I think I would love it if more people saw his project that he's been working on. With that, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.